beautiful day of infinity and beyond. I'm going to introduce this next little fun series because it's what I like doing. It brings me joy, and I hope it brings others that as well. But we have to find what brings us joy and do that first, and not cater to what we think people want. And we'll hope and pray the universe will just find the ones who can be as inspired and supported and, find joy in whatever it is that we might have to offer, being our authentic selves. And the more people that walk into their truth and their integrity and their authenticity and just put themselves out there, dare to put themselves on their own stage of life, doesn't mean a stage for public, viewing by any means, but just put themselves out there, however they feel and see fit to do, without fear, without hesitation, and without a lack of confidence or feeling, lack of security, because it's hard to get there until we do the work and find that in ourselves, so that no matter what, as the song Peaceful Easy Feeling, if we say there's nothing that anybody can do to bring me down because I'm already here on the ground, I'm firmly rooted in my earth system, in my new earth. I have found myself, so I am fixated as above, so below, and I know what my infinite essence of divinity above, energetically, spiritually speaking, not out there in some outer space deal, but in inner space, as I have merged with my higher self into my meat suit of my person. My person is not a personality that I have created, but the temple of my being, the vehicle that I have chosen. And I'm not playing characters. I can express myself uniquely and differently with every different group as I morph and we say shapeshift.
Ever since you were conceived, you've been a shapeshifter. First a fertilized egg, then a zygote, then an embryo, then an infant, a baby, a child, a teenager, adult. All names are arbitrarily chosen, and all forms are labels given to phenomena. Because ultimately every form is a phenomena, and as a phenomena it's a perceptual activity, sensations, perceptions, images, feelings, thoughts, constantly arising, appearing, known in awareness, made out of awareness, and experienced in awareness. So you are that infinite being that can choose ultimately any form and phenomena a name as appearance. This is cosmic alchemy.
Okay, that's really all this is. It doesn't mean that we're not being genuine. It's just like we're going to be goofy with one particular audience, and another one we're going to do this, and that's not. We're going to be quiet. We're going to, you just play different roles, and you cater to the movement, and you just honor the space. And with one group you'll be cursing like a sailor, and another you'll be, singing, spiritual tunes or something, whatever. It's like you just morph and go with the flow of that environment, and you're still you. You're not even play acting different roles. You're just expressing yourself uniquely and creatively in whatever the environment allows. over there is Golden Gate Park, of course, and you can't really see the Golden Gate Bridge from this angle. But anyways, that's where I'm at. I'm just kind of at this little cliffside here. I'll sit you down and have a chat. But this little presentation that I put together here is just, I really hope that you enjoy it, because I meant to have it bring joy and illumination of the heart and the soul and the core, which is all the same, really, actually. And just celebrate life and celebrate this this movement and this union of spirit into the physical world, because it's like spirit has met science in my world, and I've come into a harmonious movement, and I'm just sharing it here on camera. And I'm doing this for those, I speak spirity and stuff, and it doesn't have to just be for, everyone has a divine feminine and masculine within, and I'm just trying my best. I'm not trying, I'm just doing. It's like I know no other way now. It's like my nature to express myself, because once I have come into this awareness and have merged my divinity into my humanity, so to speak, and no other way to say it, I guess, really, then I'm just excited to share my journey and share my story. And this is her story and history all combined, in one. And as those who have been through, different phases of this journey can relate to, and I hope you'll find some illuminating entertainment by it, and just help to encourage you to continue to be your authentic self, and continue to do you and be you, and express yourself in whatever way that you resonate to do so. Because that's what this is all about, is just each one of us going through different phases and different I don't call it levels of different timelines maybe of our journeys. And I reached a certain level 6 years ago, and of illumination, and in my light body, and in my awareness, and was in a very heavenly state of being, and I left it. I went away from it. So I kind of, like we say, fell from grace.
About the shift of the ages. You now have the parameters that are defining what this time means to us now. You and I probably are living the days, the precursive days, toward an event very similar to something like this. And the reality is that those inner cores will probably stop rotating long before the outer cores do, and you and I may not recognize this rotational shift quite the same way that we would expect to in and day out in the normal sequence of our lives. And you'll understand, and I will explain that much better as we go through this information. This is such a powerful body of information to understand and to recognize what these parameters mean in our lives. So we're going to come back to our drawings here in just a few moments. What I'll ask you to do is to simply remember this process of decreasing magnetics and increasing frequency. Hold that thought just for a moment. I have another drawing here. This is what's called, it's a very simple phase diagram for you engineers. It's a phase diagram. I chose water, H2O, showing the different ways that water may express itself under different conditions. And you know these conditions, and that's why I chose this, so you could see these. Now this is temperature moving in this direction, increasing in this direction, and this is atmospheric pressure increasing in this direction right here. So what we can say is under certain temperatures and certain pressures, water within this dark line, water exists as a solid, as ice. Under a whole range of pressures right here, and under a narrow range of temperatures right here. Under other under other temperatures and pressures, water expresses as a liquid between this line and this line right here. And under other conditions, it expresses as a gas. Chemically, it's still water. It's H2O. Structurally, it's expressing very differently. It's going through what we call a phase transition or a change of state. And I've shown this to you because I believe it's a beautiful metaphor for precisely what you and I are experiencing on Earth right now. I believe that Earth is going through a phase transition. Instead of temperature and pressure, what we're dealing with are magnetics and frequency over time. As in our phase diagram, as temperature and pressure change, H2O continues to be H2O and crystallizes differently. As you and I and our Earth undergo a transition, a change of state of magnetics and frequency, we remain carbon-based beings. We remain in physical bodies, and our physical bodies are going through a change of state, a crystalline change of transition. That, I believe, is the essence of the experience that we are asking ourselves to assimilate at this time. That change of state, that transition, is the essence of what every belief system, every religion, and scientific doctrine that I'm aware of, that I've ever studied, is based upon. This is a beautiful image from the artist Alex Gray out of his book Sacred Mirrors. And what he's showing is this form of the human body. This body can be nothing more than the elements. It's superimposed upon a periodic table of elements behind us here. It's superimposed upon that table. The body can be nothing more than some combination of the elements, the very elements that we find in Earth. That's all these bodies are. They are different arrangements of all of these elements that we see right here. It's amazing when I take people on a sacred journey to Peru, for example, or to Egypt. And we go in Peru, we go to the Urubamba River, and we reach down and we pick up a handful of that sand, and it feels good. People like to feel that. And I say it should feel good to you because that's you. That sand, the elements and the minerals that you're holding in your hand, they are you, different ratios, different proportions and combinations. That's what you are. So all that we may be are the elements that we find here on our Earth. Our Earth is going through a phase transition. It's changing. We are asking ourselves to allow the gift of that transition as it unfolds within our bodies. This image, this particular image I chose, it's a beautiful image out of the first page of the Tibetan Book of the Dead and the Living, as it's now being called. And what you're seeing is in the center is an image of Buddha. Now the interesting thing is this, that Buddha is shown in the Buddha state, and look at this, all the experiences are given to us as vibratory codes, patterns of vibration that must be achieved before we reach this state. That'll be important in just a moment. I'm going to show you so that you may see with your own eyes the relationship between vibration and matter and the way that matter expresses within given parameters, within a given environment. Now, another reason I showed you this image is because in the traditional Tibetan scriptures, if I may use that term, there is a path that is outlined. It is a path of choice where somewhere in the life of a human, a mysterious force that we call the soul may have the opportunity to leave the physical body, as we've just defined it, and transition to another state of experience. We call that transition death. This is a code that was left in the mystery schools in the Egyptian temples. We live this cycle of light and dark in every breath that we inhale and exhale, in every day of our lives as those days pass through our lives. And they also make a distinction that at some point within the lifetime of each human, we will have the opportunity to make this transition where the life force or the soul leaves the body returns to those elements that it came from, just like you saw in Alex Gray's drawing, and the soul moves on into a new expression of itself, a very different experience.
This is what it would look like. It's getting more and more complex. We know that stars have planets. If you include the planets, the shadows will begin to pick up microstructures. And this is an example of what it would look like. Doesn't that remind you of the neural network of a brain, as we heard from an earlier speaker? It's just amazing the profound similarities that appear in science.
Human, not making a distinction between male and female, but the form of man is in the process of changing to forms of light that are not of this world. Now we hear that all the time today from all the channel material and all the books and the workshops that are out there. 13,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, this is a pretty outrageous thing for anyone to say, that we were changing into forms of light. And it goes on to say that it is in our bodies that we will see our Creator, in our bodies that we'll see God. This is ancient information of a phase transition within the human body, information that was left to us that does not make a lot of sense in the past without the context within which to frame this transition. The ancient Essenes, I identify very closely with the traditions of the Essenes. The Essenes were a sect of individuals who separated themselves from others of their time so that they could live their traditions and their belief systems in the way that they felt was appropriate. And in the Essene traditions, we're given a much different story in terms of our history, our purpose, our lives in this world, and this phase transition that Earth and our bodies are going through in this moment. Well, through these Essene traditions, we are given insights into the life of a man, a reverence being, and I say that very intentionally, a man who came as a human to live among humans, to learn what humans had learned, a man we now know is Jesus of Nazareth. And as I'm saying this, what I'll say to you now on the camera, it may be no accident that this is being videoed on this day. This is Easter Sunday, 1996. And everyone here in the studio now is smiling because we're actually filming this on Easter Sunday. Maybe no accident that is happening. That this initiate, Jesus of Nazareth, lived the life that you and I have learned to live. He learned to trade. He lived, archaeological records now are showing that the little village that he lived in wasn't so little at all. It was a booming metropolis of about 40,000 people. He learned of commerce. He had to do everything that you are learning to do in your life. He had to master the emotions of his life in order to proceed through the choices that he was making in his life. I particularly love this image of Jesus as an initiate, as a student learning. This is again from Cheryl Yombrock Rose. The title of this image is Christ Anchoring the Celtic Ray. It's one of the sacred sites in England. Remembered the true nature of his being, the nature of compassion, and we'll define that compassion genetically in just a few moments. He remembered that compassion, he became that compassion in his life, and in doing so, allowed a biochemical shift in his body, a genetic change, a reordering of genetic coding. And today, we call that change of state resurrection. is the union, the holy union, the marriage between spirit and the elements of this earth, as you saw in Alex Garea's body. So what we're experiencing is this. Our earth is going through a phase transition, low magnetics, higher frequencies. We live within the fields of those transitions. We live upon the earth. Every cell in our body is attempting to maintain a resonance, to stay tuned, to stay with those magnetics, to stay with those frequencies, allowing us to also transition with the earth into this higher expression, this higher form of energy.
It was just the deal, and my journey and my choice, and I explain it in my series, and I'm going to talk more about it as I go along in my episodic documentary expression that will be on YouTube, and I'm just sharing this with my beautiful souls who are joining me on this part of the journey. I love you all so dearly, my loved kin, and I'm sharing with my my partner, productivity, my fellow journeyman, right? My dear Robert, the artist extraordinaire, guided soul, guided being. And I'm going to thank you, dear, if you watch this, for being, okay? And the songs, they resemble, I'm going to say, the collective masculine and energies that I can relate to personally, because I have played those roles and the feminine and masculine energies as they came to me, because I mirrored what was coming at me in my own way, and I'm just grateful for the process, and acknowledging and accepting it, and it doesn't mean that huge chunks of it didn't suck, eggs, very, very rotten eggs, okay, and and we just, it's not about glazing over it and pretend it didn't happen, because I want to acknowledge all of it, and not to disparage it or to disregard it and pretend it didn't happen, because it did, and I'm not going to aggrandize it either and give it energy, but just tell the story, because the truth is the truth, and as we express it in a neutral type of manner, it has the energy of the truth of it, not the emotions that would cause triggering any further, because once you heal and transcend the experience, then the lesson and the wisdom of it is all that's left, and that's where we're at. And I'm going to read this to you as kind of just like a declaration of what is important to me and what I want in life. This is during my healing process, so this is what I these seem to be notes of what I declared of what I wanted in my new life. And I want to co-create. I want to collaborate. I want to accept what is. Nothing of what was, no drama, forming a whole new something. But something new cannot grow or evolve unless we go to nothing. All that needed to end to crush the old ways, the old paradigm, as I used to call it back in 2012, the brand new incarnation honors our own way. Not to convert or to fix or to change or to force or even teach another, but as the boys of Oxford, this is back in the day, C.S. Lewis and J.R. Tolkien, they were powerhouse buds back in the day, philosophy and literary professors and colleagues. And they would meet at the Eagle and the Child pub back in the days there. And they would basically share philosophy and spiritual truths and awakenings and theories and whatever else would come to their mind. And then, about life consciousness and creating fantastical worlds, to take humanity to explore their imagination from deep within to other dimensions and times that were unknown in this reality, so to speak. Call it fantastical, but somehow relatable and applicable to human nature, and metaphoric to awakening to the changes that being expressed at the time. And you know, I share this type of speak to you in all my videos and how I express myself in the same manner as a fellow colleague, as a fellow journeywoman, as we go around and do our process, and each one of us, you know, hey, this is what I experienced, this is what did you go through, you know, kind of thing along the way. And that's how I express myself in this documentation as this documentarian that I am, and the sponsor caretaker, and this doc film girl, and a producer who found my way and found my job, you know, which is my joy of being, which is to, you know, go through this experience step by step, every inch, every aspect, every crevice, every dark space, and not skip a beat, and not skip a step, and leave no stone unturned. And as I say, you know, in response to, you know, being this warrior, you know, which you're now, I say I'm a soldier of peace, a champion of justice, a protector of my love kin, which is my fellow brothers and sisters on this beautiful planet of Mother Earth. And it just means I don't give up. I don't give up. That tenacity to fight the good fight, you know, every moment, in every way.
I do my best
I have chosen to fight this good fight as this, again, a queen, empress, warrior, servant to my heart, to others, to my fellow brothers and sisters, to stay steadfast and true. And what that means is for that I don't quit, I don't give up. That doesn't, just because I'm walking away from a dynamic that is no longer healthy and of my what resonates with me at that moment, that doesn't mean I'm quitting. It just means I'm choosing myself. And what that also means is that I am remaining steadfast and faithful and committed and loyal to soldiering on in that unwavering dynamic, and energy that I have chosen that resonates truest as a path of no resistance, or least resistance, right? And in this way, as the peaceful warrior, as they say in the Buddhist tradition, to no more war, just to be in this peace. There is no attack in this fight of others. It's just, or even with ourselves, other than the darkness that may creep up, and it's just to say stop. You may go now. That's the kind of, we are. I don't want to say fighting, but we want to, stand firm against those shadows that creep up from the recesses of our minds is all. And just say, okay, you can get yourself out, get your little temper tantrum, and then go on, be aware and consciously, aware of it. So that's what I'm saying there. Mm-hmm. And then we come into this solidarity and resolve to not give up, on our bigger divine purpose and to find what that is first. And I've always known it, and we all know it. It's fascinating. We all kind of really know what we want to do, but we push it aside, or we blow it off. And it's like, oh, I can't do that because, that's what I want to do, but that's a dream and that's a fantasy, and that's not going to pay the bills. We go through this. It's just crazy. Like, well, we tried it and we failed, so it must be, we go through this torture chamber in our own bloody minds, and it's like, nature herself and the cosmic universe is now, thankfully, the planetaries aligning in the cosmos, to even push the energy to align us. And that's what this full moon that's coming up on the 21st, this wolf moon in Leo. You can't get any more powerful than that. The wolf is one of the most incredible, beautiful totem animals and sacred animals of tribe, of connecting with a family dynamic that honors the ones who are weak and honors a self-healing movement as well. It's just amazing, the beautiful wolf energy. And then to merge, which is a masculine type of dynamic, and then to merge with the lion, which is actually resembling of the divine feminine, and the new paradigm for peace on earth, and to have these two beautiful, animals guide us into this next new movement with the full moon and the eclipse, or actually, I guess it's an eclipse that's coming up. It's just beautiful. And this is how we can connect to the cosmic core, which is all what we're connected to, and we're just joined now in a dependent, as we've faced dependent dynamics to this point, just to play them out, just to see what we don't want, right? And which challenged us to the deepest depths of our past, and as I went through this movement for the last 5-6 years, as a warrior and a fighter, and a mind monster that got lost in conformity and old paradigms and belief systems, which kind of equals bullshit, doesn't it? I'm not saying people who have belief systems are all bullshit, but those are the ones that we allow to control us and hone us into that dependency. And use as a crutch, right? And that doesn't serve us anymore. And are the emotions that are the debased ones that don't allow us to rise and to express ourselves, but that hold us back. That, as I say, I don't I choose and make a conscientious effort, and best I can. I'm not perfect, and I never will be, and I'm not going to be this full-on master, but I will do my best to not get lost in my emotions, but rather found and expressed in them, and allow the emotions to play out as well as my thoughts, but from a higher perspective, a higher vantage point, more clarified. And if I come to an expression of a thought or emotion, just being more conscientious of it and allowing and freeing, and then just accountable for them. I think that's the best way we can just do our best, and then play them out and find that compassion and understanding and empathy first for ourselves. That is the number one thing, is to find the true path to happiness. The gateway to happiness is self-compassion and self-love and self-respect, because we can't even give that to another if we haven't found it in ourselves. And then constantly project and deflect our own insecurities and our own inconsistencies and our own fears and our own challenges if we haven't at least acknowledged them first in ourselves. And this is where the judgments, and this is where the battles occur, right? When we constantly put ourselves out. Oops, I spilled out my water from my core. Hello, core. Knocked over my bottle, so I'm gonna finish it off. Anyways, so moving on. So anyways, as we find all these, we get out of the traps of our minds. And the poor little canaries are, can't catch a breath. The poor little, it's time to release them out of the cage. 7:11 on the clock. That's the code of flight. It's time to complete that old cycle and release those little birdies out of the cage. And they're the ones who are teaching us how to fly. Just watching birds. That's why the ravens and the bluebirds and the sparrows and all the other beautiful little critters out there, they have so much to share and so much to say. And it's just I'm so blessed to have two divine mothers that I work with on that have taught me and guided me through this journey. Blessed beyond words. Mama Mary and Mama D, Diana, and just they both have started with their major sacred assignments with birds. So I'm going to be working with getting those out and taking flight as they feel to do so, and share the language of light by being that example. Right? This is what the animals in nature does for us. It starts out first, and then let's mirror the amazing transcendent aspects. As the transcendent angel, the dove. Let's put the cone of silence in that jar. If we haven't got anything nice to say, don't say nothing at all. And that come from Mama. Child, if you got nothing nice to say nothing at all. Put the cone on your head and just breathe in the spirit. Breathe in the spirit of your own. If you're gonna regurgitate something that ain't pleasant, put that cone on your head. Put that jar on your head. And contain thyself until you have something. And we're going to flub up, but the more beautiful souls that are around us that allow us to do what we do, and let's allow. That's the thing. That's where I'm at right now. I'm making a commitment to my dear friends around me is to allow, and it's just my reaction. If I have something that's not conducive for a rising expression, and I wish to give back somebody what they may have given me that might not be pleasant, well then I did nothing to rise anyone in the situation, just continue to perpetuate it, and I'm not doing that anymore. Okay, that's where my empathy and compassion comes in, where I commit myself. We know to pull away now from that energy. We just the cone of silence, the jar, the jar head. We just put that, and it's we're just breathing in the divine love of truth, and then breathe out love. Breathe in the light is what I meant to say. Breathe in the light of truth and breathe out love. That's the 10:04 on the clock. That's St. Francis and Brother Robert. Okay, shining bright, our night. And and then focus in on that heart to core right here, and emanate, from there. Bow the mind to the heart, right? That's where the heart mind can expand and lead the way. And then the present stays here with us as the greatest gift when we do this, and then the present moment has gifted us the best opportunity for change, evolving, potentiality, prosperity, manifesting something bigger and better than the endless cycle of pain and disdain and going backwards and staying on these vicious circles of getting nowhere. It's how we move forward. And then we separate away from the righteousness and the self-righteousness, okay, the egoic mentalities and separations and stuff that this just get us nowhere. So now we are here. Nowhere, nowhere. Let us be now here, so that way we don't stagnate and not move forward. This is how we evoke the greatest change, by being this example. And I'm just very blessed by the guided art experience that helped me through my journey since 2013. I got introduced to it probably in 2012, but anyways, it became the illustration of my story as well, and I'm just grateful to share it and express it in the way that I have as the core of my own infinite potentiality, of that I am a spark of the greater one, a oneness of the absolute source of it all. We're all connected to a greater core, and merely a spark therefrom, right? And then here, we artfully demonstrated and soulfully, in any way that we each can offer our own movements. And everyone is part of my story. Everyone that I met along the way served an amazing divine purpose. And my series that I'm creating, it's going to continue, because I'm going to continue to meet people and continue to engage and continue to interact and just be. The story goes on and on until as long as I'm here. so it's infinite. It doesn't go. It just, call it a franchise. Call it infinity and beyond. It's just I'm just getting warmed up here. I'm just getting lit, getting moved in. So, and I move forward in this dynamic, and I learn how to trust, have faith in the process, have faith in myself, and what is trust? This is the trust became the cornerstone of the bane of my existence, because I trusted what I shouldn't have trusted, and beyond reason. And trust is the union of intelligence and integrity, and that is a cornerstone of my life now. And I accept everyone in their process in the way they have chosen to be, and I wouldn't want it any other way. I have become a catalyzer, and I upset apple carts, and I turn people's lives upside down, and I don't do it to hurt. It just seems to be my nature, because beautiful souls have done that for me, and it was the greatest gift. The ones who have woke my ass up, and turned me upside down and inside out, and I'm grateful that as we, some of us are diagnosers, and some of us are healers, but the healer maybe isn't a diagnoser, so we need those beautiful souls to help point out the issues, and then someone to heal it, kind of thing. And that's kind of dynamic that I seem that as expressor, and I'm grateful for those out there who are doing their part, so that I can do mine, and then we collaborate and join together, and then we help all around us transcend, and help others to reflect their true divine nature within them, And this is how the new earth, a new day, a new birth, as we discover this, founded in grace and peace and compassion and productivity and fun. It's never going to be work then, is it? And we just create. And here we are, living in the joy of this new being. Our joy of being, that's the greatest job in the world, isn't it? And I'm so grateful you're here with me.